I thought I had one, but I've forgotten now.
And we're live.
Hello, world.
Hi.
If anyone's watching.
Nope.
Are you in the chat room, Sarah?
I just logged on to it.
It's like probably Mike and Lynn.
Yeah.
There's 12 people there. That's more
Okay,
than
my
usual.
lower third is backwards. What's going on?
It looks
Okay.
backwards to you, but it's fine to the rest of us.
Okay, that's strange.
If it bothers you, you can see that little square with like an arrow next to the on switch. If you click that, it'll flip you.
Look at
Not flip you off, but flip you.
that. I wasn't thinking that, Sarah.
Not the pilot.
I know.
All
I love
right.
that. Angela, not the pilot.
Yeah. Are you guys ready to start?
Wow.
We
All
should say
business.
prayer first.
Wow.
Apparently you have stuff to do, Sarah.
I know.
So.
I have a book to write.
That's not important at all.
Whose idea was that?
Not mine. Now I'm regretting it.
That's too funny.
Okay. Who wants to lead the prayer?
Father Corey.
Beat me to it. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Holy Spirit, we ask you to come be with us today as we discuss the issues in the world, discuss the issues in our lives, have with the fun and the laughter, and hopefully bring your gospel to the world. Bring the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, who died and rose again for us. We ask you to be with us and give us the words that will lead all to your salvation. We ask this through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. So I'm just going to do a little countdown and we'll just start off. Here we go. 3, 2. Hello, world, and welcome to Catholic Weekend. I am not the pilot. I am not your captain. I am Angela Cialana. The usual host of our train wreck is up in the sky right now, flying a plane. And so joining me today, I have with me our usual and a couple of guests here. We have with us, all the way from the flatlands of Oklahoma, Steve Nelson. Hello, Steve.
Hello. Thank you for that introduction. Sometime I'm going to have to ask you what you really wanted to say about Oklahoma.
I have no hard feelings against Oklahoma. And, of course, we have the fabulous Ms. now author, Sarah Vabulous. Hello, Sarah.
Good morning. Can I be an author before my book's been published?
Hey, you have a contract signed, right?
Oh, yeah, I do. It's right here. They just sent it in the mail this week. Right here. I can't show the rest because it's got my home address on it. I don't want creepers, but...
You don't want creepers. It's too late for that.
And you might hear some other voices back there. We have back with us again, Father Corey. Hello, Father Corey Stika.
Good morning. Good morning. How's it going?
Going well for me. And we also have the SQPN resident Hobbit priest with us, Father Kyle Sanders. Hello.
Good morning. Laissez le
And,
bon temps rouler.
So let's catch up with everyone. Steve, how have you been?
Been doing well. Had a busy week, but I'm going to have some fun this weekend. A lot of social activities going on, which is really something different for me, actually. Be able to go out and people. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed. We've got 5 people on the show, and we're from 5 different states. So that's pretty
Are you
neat.
serious? Wow. I didn't even realize that. So we have...
Usually you're representing Georgia.
Yeah.
We've broken up the Georgian domination.
So we have Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Louisiana, and Montana.
Yep.
It's
Super.
quite a distribution. I like that.
Yeah. Although it's still southern heavy geographically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then there's Montana.
A better place. Takes 4 of you and just 1 of me. So
Yeah.
Well, it represents the amount of people that are in each state.
that's true.
I don't know about Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not exactly much more widely populated or heavily populated than Montana.
I think we just topped 3.5 million statewide.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I think I have 3.5 million people that live within a square mile of me. Not really. You know. If I was in New York City, I could say that, though.
Yeah, pretty close.
So Sarah, have you been? Are you working on your book, or have you been procrastinating?
Do you want the truth?
Yeah.
You have 2 priests listening.
So what you're saying is I can just chat with them later. I'll just fly out to one of their cities.
You still have yet to come to New Orleans, by the way.
I know. I gotta come visit you, Father. So I made the title page of my book. So and I made the Google Doc. But, like, truth be told, I have it very heavily outlined. Very heavily outlined. So I'm not too concerned. I'm gonna put in a couple hours this afternoon. But and I also have about maybe half to 2/3. I haven't decided how many recipes I want to put in my book for my homebrew. So I have a lot of those already done. So that's honestly the hardest part is in the longest part is having to come up with the beer recipes and then test them out before I publish them.
Oh, that's terrible, yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
I know.
It sounds like you're writing a college paper. Let's see, 30 pages long, 20 pages of diagrams. That'll work.
Yeah, basically. I have to write 40,000 words, but obviously the recipes will take up a bunch of that without equaling that amount of words. So I'm like, how many pages can I make them be?
How detailed a description can you get?
Yeah, exactly. And so, and then I'm going to Brazil in 2 weeks. I just found out on Thursday, so I've got to get ready for that.
Ooh,
Wow.
You're a
ready
few
to
weeks
go to
late
Brazil.
for the World Cup. What happened with?
What's the World Cup? Just
Uh,
kidding. Just kidding. I watched some of the soccer games, but I know I'm actually really thankful to be going later than that because I don't want to be around that many people.
Yeah.
But I'm going to Sao Paulo for about 6 days.
Fun.
That's gonna be awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm going for work, so we'll be in meetings. I think about 4 of those 6 days I'll be in meetings all day, so those are all a wash. I mean, we'll leave, go to dinner, and then I'll be exhausted and want to go to bed because I'm presenting for about 8 hours a day. So,
Ooh, boy.
yeah, so it's going to be a long week, but it'll be, I mean, I'll be in Brazil.
Maybe you'll have a good view out looking outside the window.
Yeah, so the hotel I'm staying at is connected to a mall. It's got 2 different malls connected to it. I don't know how that works, how you can be connected to 2 malls. But it overlooks this really big bridge. So I looked at pictures, and I'm like, oh, look, a big bridge. So I think that it'll be a nice view, and just hoping to eat some steak while I'm there and maybe go visit like a Catholic site or 2. I'll be there for the Assumption, so I'll have to find a church to go to Mass.
In Brazil.
Yep.
Very nice.
I'm just not looking forward to the 20-hour round trip plane ride.
Ooh, not fun.
Yeah, woof. In coach. They won't even fly me first class. I'm like, oh, this is for work. Shouldn't they do that? But no, I'll be stuck.
Oh, what world do you live in?
Yeah. You're lucky you're not in baggage.
Yeah, well, I thought I worked for a really good company that can afford some of that. So I was hoping, but alas, no.
Well, so while you're being the, fabulous, glamorous author flying everywhere, how are our 2 priests doing? How have you been?
Father Corey, you can go first.
You just don't like going first, do you?
No.
The first shall be last.
Yeah. Well, he's learning too well also that, you let the other guy go first, then you can have more time to think about it. No, things are going well here. We're finally getting some hot weather, and Montana sometimes doesn't always get that. But it's kind of nice. Summer has finally hit, so I can actually relax a little bit now. You know, it's that little bit of a summer lull before, okay, now we got to start planning for religious education and fall, and oh, by the way, Advent is starting to come already, and so I got a little bit of break right now. It's kind of nice.
And have you become pastor now? Is that
I am.
Officially become pastor?
As of July 1st, I was officially pastor. I've been here 4 years as administrator, and I get to stay here for another 6 years.
Yay!
Wow.
This is actually kind of nice because this will be the longest I have lived anywhere. Actually, right now is the longest I have lived in a residence in my life.
Wow.
I have never lived anywhere more than 4 years until now. We moved around a lot when I was a kid, following jobs. So, yeah, this is kind of nice to not have to move. Of course, that means I'm going to have to one of these days go through all my stuff and throw out things that would have been thrown out if I had been moving. You know how that goes.
It's the worst.
Good luck with that. I've never been able to do it. I promise myself I'm going to do it, and then I just get tired, and I just load it up and ship it over.
I've been pretty decent about that. There's some stuff that ends up, I think I've moved it about 4 times, and it's like, why did I even keep this? It's a dead power supply for a computer. Why did I keep this? Oh yeah, I just was too lazy to actually throw it out.
That's too funny.
That is one nice thing about moving, though. You get the chance to get rid of stuff that you really shouldn't have kept in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Father Kyle, how have you been this week?
Sick.
Uh-oh.
I've not been feeling well most of the week. Whether it was sinus stuff or if I felt like I was gonna throw up. Yeah. So I've been not feeling well all week. I don't know if that's in part because last weekend I was at a Steubenville conference. I was at the Steubenville conference in Steubenville, Ohio. And
With a bunch of germy teenagers.
with a bunch of germy teenagers, and so I could have caught something. Although our seminarian had similar symptoms before he left. Before we had a seminarian this summer, who crazy story. He is from Jersey, not New Jersey, Old Jersey, a little island off the coast of France, which is part of England. And the Lord somehow brought him from the Diocese of London to the Archdiocese of New Orleans. Great story, awesome thing. He doesn't even know how it happened, but he's here.
Nice.
But the week before we left for Steubenville, he had pretty much the same symptoms, and so I might have caught it from him. But yeah, I have a funeral this afternoon and a wedding tonight, so move on.
The sacraments must go on, I guess.
Yes, they do.
Yep.
Well, so we have you on, of course, Father Kyle, because we appreciate and enjoy you and your presence, but also because there was a story that we wanted to ask you about that has been developing in your area regarding the seal of confession. So can you kind of give us the lowdown on what's going on there?
Yes. So, I know some things due to just following the news in our local newspaper, but I've actually read some of the Supreme Court documents now. So apparently, in 2008, in the Diocese of Baton Rouge, which is the diocese northwest of New Orleans, northwest. Yes, northwest. I haven't had coffee, people. I'm sorry. And in 2008, there was a young woman that went to confession, confessed apparently confessed some things, and about sexual molestation. And she went to confession 2 or 3 times, and then it was brought to the, outside of the confession was brought to attention of the priests and the parents of some strange things, and it was a parishioner in the parish. So they have kind of gone along pursuing this thing since 2009 or 2008. In 2009, the plaintiff died of a heart attack, but they were still asking for depositions with regards to what happened in the confession, and that the girl went to confession, and the priest cannot reveal either one of those things, that she went to confession or the content of her confession. And so they've tried to pull out of him that happened. And on July 7th, the diocese actually put out a statement, which the Diocese of Baton Rouge does not like to get into political things, even though it's in the state capital. Like that's not their modus operandi. They kind of want to steer clear of stuff. But they basically said that is not. We're not going to do this. They said it's a foundational doctrine of the Roman Catholic Church for thousands of years that mandates that the seal of confession is absolute and inviolable. Pursuant to his oath to the Church, a priest is compelled never to break that seal. Neither is a priest allowed to admit that someone went to confession to him. If necessary, the priest would have to suffer a finding of contempt in a civil court and suffer imprisonment rather than violate his sacred duty and violate the seal of confession and his duty to the penitent. And just as a kind of side note that hasn't really been in the press, but last week the Diocese of Baton Rouge put out to all of their priests that one of the things to prevent this and to show that this is what we do, you cannot put out when the kids go to their first reconciliation, to give a certificate of first reconciliation, because that said that they went to confession. And I'd never really thought about that before, that was saying that they went to confession, and that was part of the, even if it doesn't say what priest but it gives a date and it gives that they went to confession. I was like, wow.
I was actually kind of tying on that real quick. I was talking to one of our seminarians who's in a neighboring parish this summer, doing some work on their records, putting them into the computer, pulling it from like one old software package into a new software package, and it actually had dates of first reconciliation in the database.
Oh no!
And I said, "Don't get rid of that. Don't. No." Wow. Even if it was put in by the nuns, even if it was, this is the day we lined up for confession, get rid of it. I mean, that's how serious we take it. As Father Kyle mentioned, and the Diocese of Baton Rouge mentioned it. So this is actually a real issue.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a religious freedom issue. It really is. And what's surprising to me that being that, at least in South Louisiana, it is a very Catholic state. And for the civil authorities, most of them who, at least in southern Louisiana, are Catholic. Like, that's just surprising to me that they didn't understand or comprehend that particular thing. So. Which it's very opposite in North Louisiana. North Louisiana is like Southern Baptist to the core, I tell you. But yeah.
Well, that brings up just, I think, the general idea that there's a lot of ignorance around the sacrament of confession, I didn't even occur to me that there could be no record that I went to first confession or that I went to confession. I mean, I knew that the seal of confession had to do with the fact that a priest couldn't say what I confessed, but I didn't realize that it also meant that they couldn't say I went to confession. So I don't know. Am I the only one that this is like news to?
Well, I remember my first confession, but I know that I don't have anything that records it. Because it happened, pretty close to my first communion. So that's, I mean, I can relate it to that, but that's the only thing I have to go on.
Interestingly, if you want a really good movie that shows the inviolability of the seal, is the movie I Confess by Hitchcock. 1950s classic Hitchcock. It's a great movie, first of all. I mean, it's Hitchcock. I mean, he was just such a phenomenal director to begin with.
He was Catholic, too.
Yes, he was.
Oh, he was? I didn't know that.
And he understood the seal so well. The priest is accused of murder. The murderer actually confessed to the priest, but then, of course, the murderer frames it so it looks like the priest did it. And, of course, the priest is like, he just doesn't even say a word. The police is accusing him of it, and he's just like, I can't. He doesn't even say I can't. He just says nothing. And it turns out, of course, Hitchcock. Well, I won't ruin the ending because it's very much a Hitchcock style ending. If you've watched any of his movies, he likes those twists at the end. But it's an excellent. It actually does a very, very good job. I saw it of all places at seminary, and it does a very good job of showing the inviolability of the seal and how priests need to treat the seal. That we can't talk about. We can't, again, like Father Kyle said, we can't even say, oh yeah, I heard Steve's confession. Can't even say that. Can't even say that Steve was in the building at the moment that I was hearing confessions. That's how serious we have to treat it.
Wow.
And
So
sorry.
ahead.
One thing I just remembered too, Father Kyle, you said the plaintiff died of the heart attack, as I thought it was the defendant. It was the guy
Or
who
yeah,
mostly
the
doing the
defendant.
molestation.
Not the girl. Yeah, I'm not good with legal language. I have not had coffee. I'm just gonna.
You should put that
That's
on
going to be your
lower.
excuse the whole show.
Yeah, you need to change your lower third to say I have not had coffee.
Well, I need to check out that movie because most of the more current films that have a scene of confession in it, it seems like there's anything but confession going on in the confessional.
Yeah, it's awful.
Hey now.
Well, no, I don't mean that.
What movies are you watching?
It's always like they're talking about something other than confession.
Yeah,
That's what I meant.
mob meetings
Right.
and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
One of the things to speak about, I confess, what's her name? The Happy Catholic.
Julie.
Julie, yes, Julie does a podcast called "The Good Story Is Hard to Find," and in that they talk about that movie in the podcast. So there's probably good Catholic commentary on the film. I haven't actually listened to it because I like to watch the movie before I listen to the commentary. But this is another thing.
I wonder
Is
if it's
this-
on Netflix.
It
Oh,
might
yeah,
be.
possibly.
It might be. I mean, it's a classic enough movie. It probably is.
I was going to ask Father Corey and Father Kyle, is that something, like when you were seminarians, did you contemplate the whole idea of the fact that, you might be challenged someday to violate the seal of confession and what you would, possibly go through for that?
As a scenarian, you don't think in the practical, you think in the ideal. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, we're like, no, we're gonna go to jail. It's gonna be.
Well, that's where they bring.
He doesn't think of the practical at all.
No.
So, yeah.
Well, that's where they bring up the scenario, like somebody comes into you in the confessional and confesses that they put cyanide in the communion wine and you can't do a thing about it and everybody's going to die. That's literally the scenario they always bring
I've
up.
never I didn't have that as a scenario.
Really?
No,
Yours
I
is
never
like the
remember
only
that. I only remember that.
Yours is like the only seminary I've ever heard of that has never said that. And again, it's an extreme point. Because then there's other arguments whether or not you could say that confession actually occurred if someone does that, and well, I want you to go and dump out the wine, no, accidentally spill the wine. No, I'm kidding. It's an extreme case. That's the kind of level they think about. They don't think about, well, someone's going to confess abuse and then you're going to get called to the witness stand and have to go to jail for 30 days or whatever contempt of court is. They don't really talk about that. Though people kind of make those logical conclusions, I think.
Well, this is a question. Is it possible for you to take action on something you heard in confession without actually revealing that it came from confession? You know what I'm saying?
That's the argument of the poisoned wine.
Yeah.
That's actually the argument is the theory is behind that is that you cannot, well, the reality behind it is you can't reveal anything, including you can't treat another person differently for what they revealed, and you can't take actions on it. And that's why if there's someone wants to talk to me about something, I'll say, remind me when we get out of the confessional, so then we can talk about it.
Yeah,
remind
I had
me.
that happen. Yeah.
And that's for that reason. I can't walk up to someone. So, remember we talked about the problem with your family. So how's that going? Can't do that unless they say, hey, Father, I want to tell you what's going on. Then it's a little different. The theory is behind that poisoned wine is the priest cannot go out knowing that the wine is poisoned, dump it out and replace it. He actually, in theory, is supposed to celebrate Mass with that wine, knowing
Really?
it's poisoned.
Really?
That's the whole theory behind it. Again, this is the extreme to the rule.
Sure.
Is that nothing that is heard in the confessional can leave the confessional. Nothing. At least by the priest.
Wow, that's intense.
That's a new, yeah, that's intense. That's a whole new appreciation for what you face, or could possibly face.
You know, when people are worried about the priest. Yeah. I mean, again, it's such an extreme example. And I mean, to be fair, this is, in my mind, there's a counter argument that, you know, if they come in there, they're not repentant, so meaning they're not going to go and fix the problem, dump out the wine, replace it, and they have no sincere worries about it, or, you know, no sincere penance for it, or contrition for it.
Yeah.
That's the word. I can't blame not having coffee for forgetting. You could argue that, well, was the sacrament actually celebrated? However, again, you know, you still have to maintain that seal. So again, it's an extreme example, but it does answer the question of why this priest in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, cannot talk about it at the stand. Because he couldn't, knowing that abuses occurred or potential abuses occurred, could not still leave the confessional. But of course, this girl doesn't have to confess that she was abused.
Right, because it's not
a sin on her part. It's a sin on the man's part.
Well, I could see the lawyers trying to say, did confession occur or not?
And they
are you bound by it or not? But the priest can't even say that, can he?
Exactly. And actually, reading the article, the big article from the New Orleans newspaper there, that's exactly what they're arguing. They're saying, well, she didn't actually confess anything. It was a counseling session. That's the priest's to determine. That's ours. We determine that. And if we determine that there is even a question, we are to hold it as if the seal is there.
Yeah.
Wow. Fascinating. Really.
Yeah. I think I probably will have, when I talk to teens about, you know, confession, they're usually just freaked out. I mean, you know, just thinking about, oh, what is he going to think of me? And, you know, the usual fear that is associated with confession. But I think this is a good story to share with them, you know, as a real life example of the power, you know, that is in that seal, so that they're not, you know, so afraid of entering into the confessional, knowing that it's such a private and, you know, sacred place. So.
Right. And, you know, someone in the chat room reminded that Father Roderick posted a paragraph here. So if you guys don't mind, I'd like to go and read that for you.
Sure.
This is from Father Roderick, and it pretty much agrees with what we've been saying. The seal of confession cannot be broken. It means instant excommunication for the priest who breaks it. I'd rather die than break the seal of confession. No local authority can force this on the Catholic Church. It is the worst kind of attack on religious freedom possible. Separation of church and state implies that the state shouldn't attack the sanctity of the confessional seal. And absolutely agree. You know, I think this is one issue, kind of tying off what Father Roderick said, that, you know, every time we hear separation of church and state, the church can't talk about this issue because of separation of church and state. This is the point where the church says separation of church and state. The state can't talk about this issue because of separation of church and state.
Yeah.
This is the point where we tell the state, back off, this is ours.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the whole situation gets resolved, you know, peacefully, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So I don't know.
And this might be something that's going to end up at the U.S. Supreme Court if it keeps getting pushed, and that'll settle it hopefully once and for all.
Yeah.
Good joke.
The first
Yeah,
time
in theory.
this hasn't happened. This has happened before in the state of Louisiana in the early '90s. This is from what other priests have told me, older priests. I'm a baby priest. Is that happened probably like 92, 93 in the Archdiocese of New Orleans, and at some point the plaintiff, I got that right this time, even though I have not had coffee. The plaintiff took away all of the whatchamacallits. Yeah. I
You
don't know.
jinxed yourself there.
But,
The lawsuits, or
Yeah. Ow. Uh,
Oh, you guys.
okay, one man train wreck. They ended the lawsuit and whatever was going on after talking with some people and understanding, because it really was they just didn't understand
Mhm.
the sacrament of confession. Like they just didn't understand that, and so it was
Well,
it was peacefully resolved.
Good.
I don't know if it will be this time though.
You know, and this is an issue that does keep coming up. My college seminary was Mount Angel Seminary out in Oregon, Archdiocese of Portland. And there was an issue in the Archdiocese shortly before I got to Mount Angel. So this was about the year 98, 99, I want to say, where a priest of the Archdiocese of Portland went into the state penitentiary and heard a confession of a prisoner who was still on trial. And they taped the confession secretly
Oh wow!
and tried to admit it to court. And of course, as soon as the priest found out, it was, the diocese lawyered up and said, this is inviolable. You can't do this. And they fought it for about 10 years.
wow.
I think it ended up being that the tape was destroyed, although last I heard there was some question whether or not it was. But either way, the court did rule that it could not be used in this case, period. It could not be used against this person, period. The Archdiocese actually wanted the tape turned over to them, and I don't think it ever was. But as far as I know, at least it's a dead issue that they can't, if they even try to use it within a court of law, immediate mistrial and cases thrown out. So they're not going to touch it. But that was a big uproar when I was there at seminary that they had done this, and this priest was mortified. Was just, I think he felt like the state had stabbed him in the back in that point.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty bad, and so they're trying to push this. The United States, the different states, and probably our federal government is trying to push this issue and trying to get that seal broken.
Well, yeah, because they're in everything else.
Exactly.
No.
There's nothing that's sacred.
I guess the greater good that comes out of these stories is hopefully that more people are aware of really the reality of confession.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe in lighter news, did you all see yesterday there was a picture going around, or a few pictures, of Pope Francis carrying a cafeteria tray?
Yes, that was great.
Did you guys see the meme that was like, "This is the only kind of cafeteria that Catholicism"?
That was great.
Yeah.
I died.
I did.
Yep, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Eating
I
fish
love
on Friday.
I love the quote from the cashier who's like, I was too afraid to hand him the receipt or the bill. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened was that yesterday, Friday, Pope Francis decided to just pop in at the cafeteria where a lot of the blue collar, workers in the Vatican eat lunch, and I just can't imagine just getting my lunch and seeing the Pope walk in.
No. It's like, ooh, Jello salad. Yeah.
Oh, they probably don't have such things in Italy.
No, I know they don't.
Too bad for them.
Yeah, they did mention that he got sparkling spring water or something like that. I don't know.
Right here.
With just a couple French fries. Just a couple French fries.
I love that. I love that. It's like, oh, let's just go to the cafeteria.
Well,
Hey, guys.
I love the picture though, where it almost looks like he's eating alone. There's two guys on either side of him, and they're turned away from him. It's like they're ignoring the Pope. I'm not going to see him. I'm not going to see him. No.
I know it. I mean,
it's normal, like, oh, right, like, that's the Pope. Okay, I'll just not make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
I know. I was trying to. What would I do? Would I like, hey, can I join you? Or is like, he's here. Don't, let's not interrupt him.
Yeah.
I'd
I don't
probably
know,
sit
but
down and talk, even though we couldn't because he doesn't really speak English and I can't speak Italian. We could make out. That did not sound.
Oh no, Father Kyle's freaking out.
The lack of caffeine frozen his brain.
I can't speak some Spanish. I couldn't make out what he was saying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Choo choo.
Oh, Father Kyle, you've done what nobody else has been able to do, and it's just make everybody just completely lose it.
And for those of you who aren't watching, his face is completely red, like beet red. So. Along with pretty much everybody else.
Oh, man.
All I can say is episode 300.
Whatever episode number this is.
Yeah.
Bad.
Mark it down.
That's the title of the show, right? Yeah. Father Kyle
makes out, yeah.
I think we have to have a disclaimer for people, do not listen to this while driving.
But you're right. I've pulled up the photo, and it really does look like the Pope is sitting by himself. There's these two guys in blue polos they look like they've scooted over so close to each other at the edge of the table that the Pope is in the middle, and then there's another gentleman to the Pope's right side who's got an abundance of space between. I'm thinking, well, the poor Pope's sitting alone.
Yeah.
Holy Father, can you bless my food too?
Well, I read in the news article that actually somebody did eventually sit with him, I guess, and they were just talking about his Italian background and just kind of shooting the breeze. It sounded like so.
That's funny.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That would be pretty awkward though. It's like, do I talk to him? Nah, not really.
Staff at the canteen said he ate pasta without sauce and cod served with grilled tomatoes.
Mm-hmm. And just a couple of French fries. I always love that little bit.
Afterwards, he paid them compliments on the quality of the food, gave his blessing, and took part in a group photo before leaving.
Nice.
Did he have money with him? I mean,
He probably paid. I mean, just knowing him and the way that he's been since he, became Pope, he's paid for everything.
Yeah, I was good. I've always wondered that, dude. I as a priest and Father Kyle as well, we get a salary, we get a check, just like everybody else does. Does the Pope? And if that's the case, does the Pope actually have anything to spend that money on? Apparently, going to the cafeteria.
Yeah.
He's got to pay for his gas for his 1986 Peugeot or whatever.
I thought it was still the Ford.
Go ahead.
I thought it was still like a 10-year-old Ford Focus or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to pay for all his phone bills. He's got to pay for all his stamps, for all these letters that he writes.
Yeah.
He's not buying new shoes though, so not spending money there.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the other big news. The other big news. He's supposed to come to Philadelphia next year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
I already made a hotel reservation just in case.
Oh really?
Well, so here's what it is. I got on Expedia and I thought, let's just see, what kind of hotel rates there are in Philadelphia. And then I pulled up, a medium-priced one, and it says 35 people have bought this hotel today.
Oh wow.
Oh. So it's like, so I went and I said, okay, I'm going to get one of these fully refundable reservations, just in case. Because, like, well, if I decide to go in 9 months, I may not be able to find a hotel room.
Yeah.
I would probably want a hotel near where he's going to be speaking, but is that information public yet?
Well, I looked on the website for, what is it, the families? Can't
The
think of
World
Yeah.
Meeting of Families or something like that?
They
Yeah.
don't list a site or anything, and I'm
You probably haven't
thinking
planned that
that
far ahead yet.
well, that, and I think they
No.
were trying to wait to see if
They're being
Book Mantis was
sneaky,
coming.
sneaky.
I'll tell you what, Steve. I know some people in the diocese up there. I will see what I can do to get you
Cool.
some secret info.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Now everybody's going to be hitting you up for
Pass it
secret
along.
infos there.
That
No,
means I have to buy your book.
yeah, buy my book and I will tell you where the secret is.
That's a deal. I'll buy 3 copies. How about that?
Perfect.
And it won't be the cheap Kindle ones either. They'll be the other ones.
There you go.
I don't know if it's gonna be on Kindle or not. I haven't gotten there yet. So as far as what we've talked about, it's only gonna be paper to start with. So
I've
sorry.
already got a place
I
in
like paper.
my bottling room for it. So
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have 5-gallon recipes in there too, so you'll be able
Nice.
to make your big batches.
nice.
By the way, Catholic Drinky, I think, was it yesterday was National Tequila Day?
That would have been on Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh, I missed
So-
that. I was sick.
Did you celebrate that in any way?
I did not on Thursday, but I had a margarita last night.
Very nice. Just
Friday.
what kind of margarita was it?
Oh, I don't know. I went to a cheap Mexican restaurant and said one of those.
Frozen on the rocks.
Those slushy machine
Salt,
ones.
no salt.
I like frozen margaritas. Don't judge. And no salt.
Okay,
No salt.
I'll try not to.
You know what? We are all entitled to whatever the heck we want to drink.
Whoa, calm
Whoa,
down
you're
now.
pretty defensive.
Wow.
But I mean, I'll drink one on the rocks. But like, honestly, I prefer to have a frozen margarita. I don't know. It just takes me
It's
to
refreshing.
a tropical location. And I don't think they're as strong, which is nice because tequilas, can really kick your butt. So
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
No, you're not including in that a beer garita, are you?
I did not have a beer garita last night, but I do love them
Those things
very
are-
much.
I can't stand those.
They're so good. When you get the frozen margarita and then they
No.
shove the little mini Corona in it, like
No.
sign me up.
Those
That's
are
my
good.
favorite.
Those are good.
I can't stand Coronas anyway, so I can't
Oh.
imagine it inside a margarita.
You guys are missing out. Yeah, Father Kyle, stop shaking your head. It's so good.
I don't really like tequila. I don't know what it is.
You haven't had good tequila then.
Mm.
Oh, by the way, someone had sent me today, a friend of mine here, that this is American Beer Month.
Oh.
Is it
Oh.
really?
I
Drink
didn't-
American beers this month.
Says who?
According to Fox News, something on Fox News.
You
They
can't
probably
trust
made it up.
Well, as if we need an excuse to drink a good beer.
America. America.
Yesterday apparently was also Chocolate Sunday Day.
There's a
What?
date for everything.
Yeah. Why it's not on a Sunday, I don't know, but
Yeah, there you go.
Well, since I'm sensing a lull, let's take a moment and say thank you to everyone. Jeff, insert the music here, please. Thank everyone who has supported SQPN, the Star Quest Production Network, as always, leading the way in Catholic New Media. And of course, you can do that through a variety of ways. You can become a friend of SQPN by giving a regular donation to support our good work, as well as checking out that Amazon banner on SQPN. So if you purchase anything on Amazon, which I did yesterday, I bought a book lamp to read. And to read Sarah's book someday.
Yeah.
So, and you just go
planning ahead there.
click on that banner. It's really simple, and the Amazon will not charge you anymore, but SQPN will get some of your purchase to help out the hosting fees and all the other costs that are involved in all the great stuff that we're doing here. And has anybody been listening to StarQuest Radio ever since it launched?
Yep.
Yeah, occasionally.
It's great.
No.
Good
What's
stuff.
that?
StarQuest Radio is the new online streaming radio station. Just go to, I think it's starquestradio.com.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
And you can listen to some oldie but goodies of SQPN shows and affiliate shows. And yeah, so I've heard it's been a blast. Especially, I'm looking forward to tuning in to some old Saint Cast episodes because I'm really missing my Saint Cast fix that I used to get all the time.
Oh, yeah, those are great.
You know, Angela, speaking of the Amazon promotion, Amazon now has a thing called smile.amazon.com where you can permanently set a charity of your choice. You can make it SQPN, and then you can shop from there, and that's what I did. So, and then I also have my browser that tells me every time if I go to Amazon but don't have the Smile one logged in, they'll say, do you want to switch over to support SQPN? And I choose yes every time. So there's that option for you guys as well. It's super easy, and it really does help a lot supporting this great network of folks.
Now, the catch, though, with Smile is not everything is in that. But as far as I know, everything you buy through the affiliate link will.
Yes, correct.
So.
But you can try Smile, too. It's nice. And
Do both.
Yeah, do both.
One on top of the other. Maybe we'll get two percentages.
There
We'll
you
see.
go. 2 checks.
Also,
So-
Amazon just came out with Amazon Pantry as a complete side note, but I think that's the coolest thing ever, and you can order groceries online, and I'm very excited to do this very soon.
Are they gonna drop it off with via a drone?
Oh, I'll
Yeah.
just stand out on my balcony and say, right here, right here.
Hold up the receipt so they can see it.
Can you scan this from there?
You know what's going to happen is they're going to drop one of those drones in the middle of an apartment complex, and it's going to be like this mad dash of people all running out to see who's it's for.
It'll be like on the TV show Survivor if they were to ever drop something down in the middle, like, oh, free food, ah!
I wanted one.
So those are all the great ways, and there's more. Of course, Bluehost. You can sign up for Bluehost through the Bluehost affiliate link on SQPN as well, or go to sqpn.com/Bluehost and get your own website. So in all those ways, thank you for those of you who are supporting us, and please, if you aren't, consider helping out SQPN. So with that, I think it's about that time already in the show for our picks of the week. Can you believe it?
Wow. Already.
Yeah, exactly.
Just it was a great little train wreck we had here.
Father Kyle.
I'm listening to the music in my head.
The picks of the week.
Yeah.
I actually have one I thought of while we were talking.
All right, go for it.
Since you were talking about Amazon, I'll show you my latest purchase. It's this book, Forming Intentional Disciples. I have not read it yet, but I've heard so many good things about it. Has anybody read it?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. There's also a Facebook group, Steve, that you can join, and so you can chat more on what you're reading and how you're living out the book in your daily life as a Catholic. It's really great, and Sherry Waddell is really active on the Facebook group. So it's definitely worth joining to help support your efforts in learning how to be an intentional disciple.
Well, those are all the things. I'd heard all that, and that's what encouraged me to buy it. So I'm looking forward to jumping in soon.
Where might you have heard that? Oh yeah, that was my pick.
That was you. That was you.
Sorry, had to throw it
I
out. No,
forgot
it is
the
great.
context of it. But see,
It's-
I got right on, and I used the SQPN link, and I bought the book, and thank you for that.
It's very much worth reading, and as I said 2 weeks ago, and I agree with Steve. It's worth reading. It very much is. So good pick.
Are you done? I have a pick.
I'm done.
So today is the feast day of Saint Anne, and that's my middle name and also my confirmation name. So my pick of the week is Saint Anne. I think that she is just such a wonderful example of motherhood to a lot of us women out there, in addition to Mary, obviously, but nice to have, another woman to kind of look up to and ask to pray for you in a number of ways. So St. Anne, yay. I've been doing her novena this week, so.
Excellent. Well, happy feast day.
Thank you. It's exciting. So.
Yes.
And for those of you who ever go to the Holy Land, cough, cough, Father Kyle, the Church of St. Anne is a really great church to go to. It's the home of St. Anne and St. Joachim and the birthplace of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And it's actually very well known. It's a Crusader church, and it's very well known for its awesome acoustics. So
Nice.
a lot of times when people go, they sing the Ave Maria or the Salve Regina, and it is just gorgeous to listen to. So
Nice.
anyway, well, I guess I'll go since I'm talking. My pick of the week is kind of seemingly random, but this week my husband and I decided that we are not going to move. Our lease is going to be up soon on our apartment, and so we were thinking about moving to like this really like hip part of town, but we decided to kind of put that off for a while for our budget's sake, and so I have been checking out apartmenttherapy.com a lot. And apartment therapy is basically this site that you really have to be careful to not get addicted to because it's got a bunch of like do-it-yourself projects, just tips on how to, even if you don't have an apartment, just your home in general, how to kind of make it more your own, and organizing tips, and just a lot of great stuff. So apartment therapy, if you're interested at all in making your home a little bit more comfy and livable. So
I wish you hadn't told me about this.
It is really like it can be addictive, so be careful.
And they have Pinterest boards.
Oh. So are we gonna have to push your deadline back about 6 months or so there, Sarah? Or no?
Oh no, Father! It's in writing. January 1st, 2015.
So December 31st all-nighter? No, I'm kidding.
I did that in college, but that was only for 125 pages, and so this is about double that. So I don't think that would work out.
2 all-nighters.
Yeah. Hope you guys have a great New Year's Eve. My date is my MacBook.
So I will go instead of Father Corey. I'll
There
let
we
him go
go.
last. So I have 2 picks of the week. The first one is earlier this week, Ignatius Press, the favored publication company of people in general that like good things and the truth and such. They have a book sale, and if you can't tell from my background, I don't like books at all. I have an entire wall filled with books. They have an awesome book sale with a lot of things from Pope Benedict, and also quite a few things about C.S. Lewis, and some awesome fiction and nonfiction and good theology and philosophy, and yeah. So go check it out. They have some great books for really cheap prices. So that's my first pick. The second pick is the selfish pick. In February, God willing, I will be traveling to the Holy Land with the Catholic foodie, Jeff Young.
Awesome.
So SQPN it up. We are going to be traveling to the Holy Land from February 26th to March 8th. And it's going to be a unique pilgrimage because we'll go to the holy sites, celebrate Mass at all the awesome places, but we will also learn how to cook some of the best Middle Eastern food from some of the best Israeli chefs. And there's this thing that there's a secret hummus recipe from the best hummus in all of Israel. I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds so legendary. The best hummus in all of Israel.
That's Yes, and I am looking forward to learning how to make that.
Nice.
I have a feeling that it's not going to be much different than a recipe that I could find on the internet. But anyway,
Whoa.
I'm prepared to be let down, but I'm okay with being surprised. Uh,
Oh,
but so that's going to be exciting because it brings together the two things that I love the best: food and Jesus.
there you go. You will enjoy. The sights are awesome and the food is incredible in the
Yeah.
Holy Land.
The
You
food
will
is like
severely
no
enjoy.
other place in the Holy Land. It's
So good.
fresh. There's fresh agriculture everywhere in the area, and
You're saying it's
just
better than
delicious.
Rome? Whoa.
I think
haven't
so.
been
Can
to
I still
Rome.
sign up for
I've
this
never
trip?
been to Rome, but
Oh,
from,
well then.
from
no,
what
no,
I
no.
hear,
Yeah.
my bosses lead pilgrimages, and they lead pilgrimages to both Italy and the Holy Land, and they favor the Holy Land. So
Wow.
gotta
Can I
say
still
that.
sign up?
Yeah, yeah, you can sign up.
I have to check into that. I've been wanting to go to the Holy Land for a very, very long time, but just hasn't worked out.
It's worth it.
It's about $4,200. So it's not exactly cheap, but yeah. There's a limited amount of spots so that there can be that cooking and learning experience. There's not going to be we're not going to have 150 people. It's going to be more like maybe at the most 40. So
Nice.
you gotta pull in and sign up quickly, and yeah.
Well,
So-
Father, we'll be praying that things calm down over there so you'll be
Amen.
able to go.
There, we also have exciting. Maybe I can't say this. I'm not going to say this. So I'll tell y'all after it's broadcasting and such. Because I don't know. Jeff tells me things, and I don't know what is public and what is not public. So I'll tell you after. Anyway.
Secrets later. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, Father Corey, you have a pick?
Yeah, actually, I'm tying into Steve's, although I picked it before he mentioned his book. But Father Robert Barron, former professor of mine, I have to brag a little bit, and rector of Mundelein Seminary up in Chicago, did a video on intentional disciples, forming intentional disciples. And it's an excellent 10-minute summary of the book. He goes through, what the book's about, the stages of becoming an intentional disciple, very much discusses it. So if you're not sure about the book, watch his video, and it will help you understand what the book's about. And he's very, very positive about the book. I think he understands the importance of it. So that's my pick of the week. It's just short, like I said, 10-minute YouTube video. And if you've watched any of Father Barron's videos, you know how good it is because he's such an excellent speaker. He's such an excellent speaker, excellent presenter, very clear, very intelligent, and so that's my pick, is the video that explains the book that Steve picked.
That you suggested that I pick.
Yeah.
I think Sherry Riddell should give you some royalties off that book.
Hey, it's one of those things where I think it's very much worth promoting. So even if I don't get any royalties, I did get a signed copy, but.
So here we are. We're at the end of the show already. Wow. So let's go around, do the rounds, and see how we can stay in touch with all of our panelists. So Steve, how can we find more of your maybe some of your reflections on the book you'll be reading, or your Catholic Photo Challenge?
Everythingisesteban.com. Yeah, the current photo challenge is one that Maria suggested, and it's really good. So you should go check that out, especially if you're into photography. I'm trying to boost it, but it's kind of a slow go right now. But I think it's going to take off one day.
I think so. Just keep at it. I'm gonna get my submission in for this one, hopefully today or this weekend. So. All right, and Sarah, what's going on at CatholicDrinky.com?
Not much, but you can check out. I did upload last week my video of my interview at Catholic TV. If you missed it, so please check it out. I use my hands too much, and so I just need to work on that for a future interview. But CatholicDrinky.com, but really like the Twitters, and selfish ask, tweet me encouragement so that I will continue to write my book. So just could use some words of inspiration as I start this journey, because I've never done this before. I wrote a 125-page paper in college, but I had a year to write that, and I had deadlines with my professor. I had certain things done at certain times, and different. This was also almost 10 years ago. So just any little love, words of wisdom for anybody that's written a book, has written anything really big. Help. But so Twitter, Instagram, I liked Instagram, whatever. All the usual social suspects. Come find, say hi.
Alrighty, will do. Father Kyle, how can we find you online?
Well, my blog is reverencedreading.com. And then you can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Colonel for God. Colonel is not popcorn, but rather the military. But yes, COLONEL 4 God. Yep, you can find me there.
All right. And Father Corey, where can we find you?
Well, my webpage, my blog is frcory.org. Usually just post my homilies there, post my weekly homily. And the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, about anything else, Google+, it's Fr Corey Stika. And the Stika is spelled Sticha.
All right. And I am Inspired Angela at Inspired Angela on Twitter and inspiredangela.wordpress.com. And hopefully I will be sharing a really great idea that I had this week for anyone who works with teens. I did a little, I guess it's sort of a video project where I had a bunch of people on the internet create videos about how they live their faith in their daily life, and then we did a little project with the teens on that, and it was really neat. So I'm going to share my outline for the night that I did, and give some tips on if you want to do that on in your parish. So it'll be on my blog, inspiredangela.wordpress.com. So that concludes this week's episode. And thank you all for joining us. As always, thank you everyone in the chat room for hanging out. And we look forward to another train wreck next week. But until then, we hope you all have a wonderful week and are blessed. So take care and see you then. Bye.
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 All right.
Boy, that was fun.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You should just not have coffee like ever, Father Kyle.
Yeah. See, the problem is that my homilies are gonna go.
Except
You
in
sure?
the spiritual direction. I would appreciate some coffee then.
So my mom has been calling me multiple times, and I don't know what the problem is. So I'm gonna head out. But Chef Matt Murphy, who is one of the premier chefs here in New Orleans, is going to be joining the trip. He's from Ireland originally, and he owns an Irish restaurant here in the city. So I'm extremely excited that we're going to have like an actual like master chef that will be joining us. And he's actually been on one of the cooking shows competitions, and he won the competition. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
So,
Well, I love y'all. I will talk with you later. How do I get out? Okay, there we go.
Just close your browser window.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun.
Maria and Jeff don't know what they missed.
No
I
kidding.
know.